Welcome to Overwatch. Welcome to another episode of Coaching the Many. Today, we're talking all about this hottie down here, Moira. Everyone's favourite support. No, most people not the keenest on Moira. This was submitted from someone who's sort of getting back into the game after taking a little bit of time off, and they're feeling a bit rusty, and they want to get better at the game. There's no SR listed, and none popped up in the bottom corner, so hey, feel free to guess. Feel free, absolutely free to guess. Otherwise, yeah, let's take a look. Let's go and see how this Moira goes. First things first, as we always do, take a look at the team. Good lord. So, this is a difficult team to work with. I mean, as from a Moira's point of view, like, when I'm playing Moira, I'm thinking, like, who do I want to heal? How effective is my healing going to be? And on the bright side, like, these... Like, pretty much everyone's going to be piled on top of each other. The only people who should really get away from you at any time is, like, the Winston, maybe, and the Hanzo. But most people should be piled on top of each other. So you should be okay to get, like, a lot of healing done. The issue is you're going to be I completely still hold to this opinion that you're going to be carrying the Brig. She's just not going to put out enough healing. This is kind of a rushdown team, though. You need to get into the enemy team very quickly. Of course, we don't know the enemy team yet, so we're not going to talk about that just yet. Minor thing, but very important. Okay, so you want to do it right out the door. So with Moira, what you want to do is you have like a move speed, and I think it's like, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I checked these numbers, the average move speed in Overwatch is 5.5 meters per second. Right? There's an exception to this, which is Genji and Tracer, who move at 6 meters per second, but don't worry about that. So you got Moira. I need to get rid of the music as well. Ooh. Shut up. So yeah, you move at like 5.5 meters per second, but when you use Fade, you get like a big burst of speed. And what you want to do is you want to go into Fade and then jump towards the end of it so that you carry that speed out, and then you get like a little bit of extra distance. So about half the Fade you run, towards the end of it you just jump. The later you jump and the more time you get it right, the more distance you'll get. You want to do this right as you come out the door because you want Fade off cooldown in time for the first fight. And it will probably be off cooldown. But let's say you go to here and you haven't faded yet, and you see that they have a pharmacy. Like, you need this Fade. You need to have this active. So you really want to be ready with that. So, yeah, use it when you're coming out the door. And it should be ready by the time you might need it. Because here, we're walking into a fight. If they have a Lucio, like, let's say if they're playing, like, a Lucio aggressive dive, I know it doesn't sound probable, but it might sometime in the far-flung future where the meta shifts. They could already be here. Like, Lucio can speed boost them out, and then the Winston can jump, the Genji, the Tracer, everyone could just get in super fast, and you could be in a fight. Moira without Fade is way weaker than Moira with Fade. Like, you are so much more vulnerable. So let's talk about our position. Like, straight away. So you have two choices when you go here. Well, you have three choices in my mind when you get to this position. And this is, like, how we should be thinking about positioning in general. Like, how does the position affect, like, our decision-making, what hero we're playing affect where we're going to go? So it's obvious straight away that, like, standing here is just not safe, right? There's a little bit of safety because there's this thing in the middle. But let's talk about, like, identifying good positioning as I draw a penis on the screen. Because here, well, the sightlines where the enemy team is literally coming out straight towards us. So if they had a Hanzo, like they don't, but let's say that you're playing the Moira on the enemy team, and there's just a Hanzo, the first thing the Hanzo's going to want to do is just shoot arrows this way. Like, that's all he's looking to do. The same thing with a soldier. The Junkrat's already firing this way. Like, he wants to shoot at us over here. We need to get out of this space, like this area, as quickly as possible. And, like, even, like, I'd extend that to, like, over here as well. We need to get out of this space. Now, we could take a step back, right? We could just take a step back and use this wall as safety. It could just be, yeah, right? It's a completely safe wall. The reason why we don't is, of course, if we think about the terrain from, like, top down, like, this is like the wall, and we're on a little bridge, and then there's, like, the pit, right? And so this is the pit. It's like this bit over here, and then there's, like, the building over here, right? And then you got, like, the terrain here, and there's, like, a rock here. We don't stay out here because, well, anything that knocks us to the side, we just could fall off and die. So clearly, like, this isn't a good position because any slight nudge can knock us off. Also, it's not a good position because we just don't have good options. Like, if they do jump on us and engage, our only option to get away from them is to run backwards. And if we run left or right, we die. And we're completely vulnerable from those sides while we do this. So even if you run back here, if someone's here and fighting into you, you're just not safe. at all. Like, the only safety you can do by running back is like there's a rock. Sorry, let's use pink for that. Magenta, rather. Like, the rock over here is like the only safe space you can get to. And that's quite a big distance, especially when we don't have fade. We need that fade. So we want to be thinking about, like, well, where can I go that's safe? So going over here is not a bad idea. It's just you got to commit to those decisions to make. And this is why I say, like, there's basically 3 choices. You can either go to the pillar in the middle and you just hug this pillar. This is generally used if you're playing like a more aggressive team lineup that wants to just take over the courtyard as quickly as possible. You can also just go straight to the point. This works nicely if you're playing something fast and you really want to just go, and just take the point straight away. It's a very, very powerful move because it forces the enemy team to engage into you at a certain point once the point unlocks. Or you can go over here. The danger of going over here is you concede a lot of ground, right? So they can just go straight to the point, and like if your team runs over here, and they just go over here, it's like you can't really do anything about it, right? You can't just go and like intercept them and cut them off. So this is generally like the unsafe move. The times you go like here is if you're playing long range hit scan, medium to long range hit scan, or a hero like Moira that can cover ground pretty quickly. Because then you can go here, or you can play like Ana and go over here as well and just like heal. Zen isn't too bad over here. The danger also over here that you got to keep in mind is that a lot of flankers like to go through this route and like use the cover of the building to find a way in. So, like, doing this, like, this is not a bad starting point. It's just that when we, like, step back out, that's the worry to me. Whereas, like, we got into a decent position, and then we just kind of walk back out, and you notice that straight away we take, like, 70 damage. So it's like we know, kind of, where we should be, which is over here. And if you're going to go here, you stay here until you see kind of what the enemy team's done, where the enemy team's moved, all that kind of stuff. Their Symmetra teleported somewhere, I imagine, or the Reaper went around the back, I'm guessing. And then you can start making good decisions. But it's like taking that moment of safety. I like the choice of the heal orb here, though. I don't like the choice of just walking across this. Feels like your Reaper just like went in. The fuck happened there? How did he do that? He's just like, I see what he's done. He teleported to the middle and then came around here. Sim teleported over, and I'm guessing a couple of other people did as well. Yeah, definitely you don't want to walk across here. Like, especially after taking some damage, you can't just walk across this space. It's just not safe to do. So I think today we're going to be talking a lot about positioning, safety. It's a comment that I've made quite a lot, but I still think it holds completely true, which is that a low-level player will assume that the enemy will miss them. A high-level player will assume that the enemy will oftentimes hit them. It's a very important idea to sort of ground in your own mind that is what I'm doing safe, and you can make the argument, oh, this is safe because there's a Sigma barrier. The Sigma barrier is trash here. Like, there's a Junkrat spamming around, you're like half your body's still vulnerable. This is not safe. It's a bad barrier. So to get safety here, all you have to do is fade across, and you can come out here, and then you can be safe in your team, for example. And that would be an okay use of fade as like a reposition, especially as your team has advantage right now. You just have to play a bit cautiously going forward, but hey. We know what the enemy team is at this point, so let's talk about it. I know we haven't seen too much of the video, but like, there's a lot to think about in the first couple of seconds, right? We've got to really have a good idea of what we're doing going forward. So, Hog Risa. That's something to be a little bit scared of, so we just need our fade. Like, if we get halted above a barrier, or like halted somewhere vulnerable, and they're getting this combo right, we need to just fade out the halts every single time. Junkrat, a lot of spam damage. This is actually good for us because we'll get Coalescence extremely quickly. Nothing will really stop us doing that. Symmetra, we just need to keep our distance. The thing with Symmetra as well is, as a support that you need to watch for, is the teleport flower. Like, I call it like the turret flower, because Sim's teleporter looks like a flower, where she just puts a teleporter down into your backline, puts 3 turrets through it, and it just appears next to you and just goes and kills you in like 1.25 seconds or some shit. It's kind of devastating. So we need to be really aware of, like, okay, that could come at us anytime. And it's just, the more the awareness is, if you suddenly start taking damage, you hear the turret noise, you just got to fade, get away from it, then heal up. And then you could just kill the turrets, no problem. Baptiste, something to be slightly concerned about, but not really. Like, just his ult. You just gotta respect it. See it. So here's the thing. This is why I want to talk so much about positioning. It's like we don't know what we want to do. So think about this courtyard. Can I just get, like, Lijiang Tower? Is there, like, a top down? Is that garden? That's garden. Although, yeah, it'll kind of do. Is that high res? That's pretty high res. Okay. Let's grab this. And let's see if I press Alt Enter. Does that go full screen or is F11? Nice. Okay. So this is Lijiang Tower, right? And like this is the area that we're interested in right now. This is the area that we're playing in right now. And the awkward part about this map is that like the roof covers a lot of it. And the areas that we want to play in 90% of the time are like if you're holding this corner as a support, you can be here. You can maybe take a step back because the only thing you've got to really be concerned about when you're hiding behind this wall and like healing people who are fighting in this space is if someone does go for a teleport through here, you can be very vulnerable from this angle. If someone like a sniper goes this way, there's like a very clean sight line across. So you always want to like respect that a little bit. And so what this does is it turns like this space here for a support into kind of a no man's land. Right, we can't actually play in this space because if you play over here, well, we can be shot from here, and we don't want to be shot. If we play in like these spaces, we can be shot from over here, and we don't want to be shot. So you have kind of two options. What I like to do personally is when we have advantage, like when the enemy team is still trying to figure out what they're doing, I will generally play very close to this wall. Like I'll really like hug this corner because then the sightline isn't quite as good. Like they have to be all the way around. But the moment I get a snifter that someone's like threatening back here, I will actually fall back to like here and just start healing from like here. As Moira, you got to be a little bit closer, like you have to be kind of like here-ish, but it's just being aware of like where the enemy can hit you from, because if you can heal from somewhere where they can't hit you, you just get free healing. Like you don't have to give a shit about anything, and that's a really nice position to be in. That's sort of the position that we always want to try and put ourselves in. So we're doing a little bit too much suck. So here's the issue. If their team's paying attention, like when we start fighting better teams, think about, like this is why I want to focus so much on positioning, because it's so important. And like for Moira, the decisions on like what we're doing with our left clicks and right clicks, it's not the be all and end all. So the fight's broken out in this courtyard, right? While we're here, we're a little bit safe because we still have Fade, and they don't really have like any one-shot potential aside from the Roadhog. So we don't really need to worry super much about one-shot damage, so we can kind of do this. It's just like against a more hit-scan team, against a team with any snipers, against a team with a Hanzo, we can't really afford to be here anymore. Because, again, like safety is over here, right? And if we can get one shot, then we can't fade out of it. So we just got to be very aware that the moment we start taking damage, we need to fade and get back to safety. You could, in theory, play this pillar. But we're just standing out in the courtyard. This is like the appropriate response. A little bit inappropriate in where we went to. Right, we sort of tucked around into open ground again. At this point, you either just go forward behind the Sigma barrier. I wouldn't trust a Sigma myself, because they tend to like to redeploy the barrier constantly. So yeah, I just go back here. Yeah, they just follow us in. The issue here is that your team let them get like way too much ground. Also, what I would recommend at this point is like, as they're pushing in, first I would either have orbed aggressively or defensively. Like this is just completely up to you. You can either just throw a damage orb into that just to get some easy ult charge, and just put some damage in. Like it just helps a little bit of damage here and there. Or you can throw a heal orb and just throw it this way. And I would have probably done that very, very early, like a lot earlier than what we would have done. Just to get the ball rolling, just to like get it out there, so that the Winston who's going to need it can get some heals. Because at this point, like the heal orb's going into a fight that's already over. And when I say it's already over, I mean they've taken this space. So you're not fighting it in this area anymore. You're fighting in this area. Like this is the ground that you're fighting in now, because the Orisa has taken it. Like, and that's a really aggressive barrier from them. But Winston goes in, Reaper's in the back line, but he can't be helped, and then we get pulled and killed. And the only reason why we needed that fade was because we were in that dangerous position, right? If we were in a safer space, we wouldn't need to fade, we wouldn't get pulled, we will be able to fade out of it. So on, so on, so on, so on. So it's like very much like a step-by-step of like, we're in a bad position, we have to fade early. Because we fade early, we're vulnerable to being killed later. At this point, yeah, you're just trying to save these idiots. There's no saving this Hanzo. Try it. Try it. Good job. No, what are you doing? Oh, Jesus, don't do this. I can't believe he got the Baptiste. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Let's talk about this. So, again, like, we're just going to keep highlighting repeatedly. So, I've talked about this courtyard before. What we're going to do, what ends up happening, is we just sort of walk into the middle. And that's so dangerous. That's so very dangerous. Like, we're just kind of walking in willy-nilly. I mean, we are kind of keeping the pillar between, like, the big threats and us, at least. But, like, this is just, like, insane to me. Like, again, to me, you either get to the pillar, you get behind one of these, or you get over here. You cannot be here. Like, this is, like, no man's land. This is no man's land. You can't be in, like, these big open spaces. You see big open spaces, they aren't for you. They're for tanks. You want walls. You want cover. So, like, running this way is kind of weird. Like, I would have just gone here, and I probably would have coalesced much earlier as well. Let's talk about this coalescence. Like, the moment you have it here, I would have probably just gone for it. Because what it does is it keeps the Winston alive while he wants to do his primal rage. And two, it just puts a lot of pressure on their tanks. Like, your team is engaged. It's not a good engage. Respect that, Roadhog. So the thing that I will fault for here is we've got to keep an eye on this Roadhog. We kind of do a semi-clever thing. But if we think about, like, well, he's taken a breather, and the thing with take a breather is by the time he's done it, his hook's usually off cooldown. So it's very, very common, like, it's a very, very common pattern for Roadhogs to take a breather, come out of it, hook straight away. Some of them will take a breather, fire a shot, then hook. But it's very, very common. And so we just got to, like, really respect this Roadhog at the moment, because we don't know if he's going to hook us or not. The clever thing that I highlighted was, hey, yeah, if we just get in this bubble, we're safe. We don't have to give a shit anymore. It's not the greatest position for us, but we can then just, like, keep an eye on this Roadhog. But I would have just kept, like, I would have really kept that Roadhog focused for a moment or two longer, because you hear the hook come out. Listen for it. You hear it in there? It's pretty identifiable. These turrets on the point. So we kind of did it. Again, respect this Roadhog. He can kill you. Like, when we're going in, this is fine, because we have Sigma between us and the Roadhog. So even if Sigma gets hooked, it doesn't matter. Roadhog will just shoot him, and you can just heal, and he'll be fine. Which is quite funny. Okay, defeating. That's really good for you. So, again, highlighting position. We come out of this fade, and then we just go out into the open. I don't like it. Use the fade to reposition to somewhere safe. You have a few options here. You can fade, you can go back here, and then just focus on, like, healing all the people getting knocked back. You could fade and go, like, here, and then just focus on doing damage. Or you can fade and go to the middle pillar and fight from there. This is insanity. You absolutely want this Orisa to engage, and she has. Can we pay attention to the Orisa behind us? It feels like we get a bit lost here. It's like we lose sight of this Orisa, who's just running in. At this point, we need to realize that the fight is, like, super over. The fight was over here, right? You guys flip the point. What a good team would do at this point is regroup as 6 and then start a fight. Instead, the Roadhog just walks in and ults, which is, like, the worst thing he can do, because he's just got no safety. So he's just going to die. Like, no matter what happens here, he's dead. There's nothing good that comes out of this. And then, like, the Junkrat's dead, the Roadhog's dead. You guys have just won the next fight for free. And so at this point, all you're looking to do is just play safe and just, like, oh, well, there's Orisa now. Like, the Orisa should be the target that you guys just nail and kill. So you just stand back, you play around the Winston bubble maybe, you play around the pillar, you play around the point, and you just kill this Orisa. Like, the Moira on her own isn't going to be able to beat these three. And the reason why I say we need to respect it is because, well, if she just shoves her gun into our arsehole, we might die, so we want to be a little bit careful about that. Yep, just kill this guy. Be very careful about crossing this bridge. Like, just to really, like, emphasize this point, like, this is all no man's land, right? You cannot be like past this point, is what I would say. And the reason why is the same things we've been discussing, right? What makes a good position is the ability to like hide from damage, stay away from damage, and easily get to safety. So when you start pushing out like further, it gets harder and harder to get to safe places. And as Moira, you can kind of fudge it a little bit, and you can probably go to about here, because the fade will still carry you back to safe position. But in general, I tend to just, it's so open, it's so like revealed, I tend to just like to play the corner. Very rarely will I go forward. The other thing to pay attention to here is the turrets that whiz past our ears. We need to clear those out. Winston can be over there. Let Winston be over there. Like, if he wants to go and die doing that, that's on him. Don't compound your own death with him. Sounds like this makes me wonder if how teams can't concept the concept of regroup and fight again. I mean, yesterday, like, I had a game, the Hollywood game at the end. You know those videos of like scared cats? Where like cats, when they get scared, they like jump 3 miles. For God's sake. Like cats getting scared and jumping compilation. I'm sure this is like copyright music, so I'm just gonna mute it. Where, when a cat gets afraid and it just like does this, and they just look really stupid when they do it. That's not even a cat getting scared, that's just a kitten missing. That Hanzo literally just like epitomized that, right? Where he just like takes this little bit of damage. He's like, oh god, there's a turret! Ah! It's literally just a turret like, ah! Ah! Oh god, oh dearie me. I was talking about something, but I don't care anymore. Okay, we fucked that up. I appreciate the amount of respect we gave to this. I really appreciate the amount of respect we gave to this. There's 2 things I don't like. First, we turn around to run this way. We don't need to do that. We know there's nothing behind us. We just backpedal. It's fine. There's like in some games, the way it works is like when you're in a location, if you backpedal, so if you're still like, let's say you're always facing this way, if you move this way, you move slower. In Overwatch, I don't think that applies. I think backpedaling is literally the same speed as walking forwards. Like in WoW, if you backpedal, so if you just hold S, you will walk backwards slower than if you angle the camera forward and like sidestep. So like backpedaling is like a generally very good way to spot people who are inexperienced. I think it's a tiny bit slower. It might be like a tiny bit slower. It's still really not worth it. The other thing that we didn't do is just hold right click. Like, you need to put damage on this thing, because if everyone puts a tiny bit of damage on this, it dies super easily. But we just kind of don't put any damage on it at all. And like, as like this, like let's say the Sigma hits it, I would be so pissed if I was the Sigma. And like, I've been in this situation so many times, where if I'm the Sigma, and like I hit a shot on this, and it goes down to, I think if you hit both orbs, it will go down to like 30 hit points, maybe at current patch, 20 hit points. But let's say like a couple of people do damage, it's got like 20 hit points. You can shave 20 hit points off this thing by the time it gets to you. Like, not contributing to the damage here can get someone killed. Your job as a support is to make sure people don't die, right? Like, we're very neglectful here, and I appreciate that we get we go for a fancy dodge, and the dodge can really bait people out, but yeah, that Sigma could have died. And like, the Ana hit a shot, the Sigma kind of hit some AoE damage. No, the Ana just hit a shot though. You'll be surprised the difference it makes when you like contribute in moments like that. So again, we're just walking across open terrain. Don't like it. And as you can see, we take a huge smack of damage. And then we come out of this and we're like super low, super in danger. Positioning. Don't like that up. Okay. So if you're going to come out of this and do Coalescence, I don't think the Coalescence is a bad idea here. I think the Coalescence is a fine idea here. I think it will work okay, although your team did C9 the point somehow. But we can't just run across, and like, if you're gonna run across, don't run across this way. Like, this area here, this is danger. Danger, right? We can't be here. We've got to be going around this way. If you're going to just walk across. But honestly, I would just fade, like, to get over here as fast as possible. It gets you there quicker, it gets you there safer, and then you just play around the back of the point until the fade comes off cooldown. Because we have to fade anyway. Like, if you're trying to cross it like this, you're going to take damage, you're going to have to fade, no matter what. So why didn't I like this Coalescence? So the reason why is Coalescence has a startup. Alright, let's play it at 2.5. Oh, this can go to 1080? What the fuck? Let's mute it. So Coalescence has a startup to it, right? The nice things about Coalescence is it gives you a huge amount of self-healing. Like, you are really difficult to kill with Coalescence up. But yeah, it has startup, so now self-healing starts. And so if you're doing Coalescence in like a dangerous area where we've kind of gone towards the enemy team, this is the scary part to me. Where Coalescence has a big old range on it, like it's pretty lengthy. Moira doesn't really have much in terms of girth, but she's got length. She's got length for days. So we don't need to be here to do this. This is just like asking the Junkrat to just throw a trap at us, to throw a mine at us and just dead. And you feel like a complete tit because generally you start the Coalescence and you just go boom and you get blown over 4 counties. And it's a real problem. It's a real problem. It ends up working out because the Junkrat doesn't realise until we get the kills, but I think the Coalescence is an okay decision. I would have just done it slightly differently myself, where we get it, and either just initiate it straight away from here, or I would fade back, and I would probably fade and go around the corner behind us, do the startup behind the corner, and then come out with the Coalescence. You might lose like a second of it, but because you get the improved movement speed, you get the healing, it means that you're not going to die with the Coalescence, which means other people aren't going to die, and that's kind of important. And it seems like such a minor thing, but that startup will get you killed so often because you're like, oh, I can Coalescence, I'm completely safe, and then you start it up and you just die. So we'll for Coalescence throughout your orb first. Yes, that's an optimization that we don't necessarily need to worry about, but yes, you should orb before coalescing. Because the cooldown of the orb will come off as well while you're coalescing, and also maximizes output. In general, though, I think we focus primarily on our positioning more than anything. We spent a long time on this first round. We should spend less on the next ones, though. I think I've harped on about position enough. Okay, any changes to our team? Nope. Changes to theirs? No. Well, they've got a Reinhardt now. Okay. It's kind of interesting, I suppose. You're probably going to have to work a lot harder, actually. Actually, I want to see, did we fade out the door? Or did we not? No. So again, like, just to reiterate this point, right? Fade now. Fade, jump, and you will launch super far. Because the dropship actually has like a slope to it, so when you fade and jump, you actually get like a lot of distance. Because you would be like over here, and the thing that we end up doing like far too often is like, it's almost like we realize, oh, they're ahead of us, I need to try and catch up, I'm going to fade to try and catch up, and that's not a good position. And we don't just fade at all. Thing is, it'll be off cooldown by now, like you'd have it ready. Especially when you got a fast tank like Winston. Like if you're playing like Orisa Sigma and they're just walking behind, like don't fade in front of them obviously. But when you're dealing with like Winston, you've got to try and keep up with them a little bit. And you can do that with cooldowns. If it's just Orisa Sigma and they're just walking in front of you, yeah, don't go in front of them. You don't need to. Or you can get to like that corner, back there, back round behind us, and just stay there and wait there safely. So we do get to a safer position. It's a little bit dicier. It just felt like our team didn't quite know what it wanted to do, unfortunately. And yeah. So this is what happens when the team kind of does two things at the same time. Neither one works. Well, like the Winston's like, oh yeah, I want to engage. I want to like fight here, right? The Winston's like, yeah, let's fight at this corner, right? Because you think about the walls here. If he does this and like the Reaper goes here and like you and the Brig like go over here and then everyone else just like fights around this corner, you could be in a really good position. But it's like the Sigma, you and the Reaper kind of go to the point, and then the Winston's just on his own and just dies. Like he jumps out, has no hit points. At this point though, we need to be healing. So the thing that you need to realize during this fight is like, with this team comp, if there is a fight happening and you are not healing, the amount of healing that's being output is Brig. And that is barely greater than 0. Like, Brig's healing is not phenomenal. So I'm okay with us like taking a little moment or two just to do some damage here. But it's like at this point, it needs to be in the back of your head that like, there is now no healing going on to our team in the fight. Their team has Moira, Baptiste. If those two are just outputting healing together, Moira puts out about 80 heals per second. Baptiste puts out about 60 heal per second. Both of these are AoE. So their team is healing probably for a grand total of 140 heal per second. And it's probably not quite this all the time, but that's a lot of healing! That's a huge amount of healing. Like, that's why this is like such a meta healing comp. Because it's so much healing. Your team is putting out 0 healing. Guess who wins? It's... And like the hard realization with Moira is your healing output is a lot higher than your DPS output. The reason why your DPS output can sometimes be really good is it can push people over the top. So it's just like a little bit of additional damage that's very consistent. And it's the consistency that makes Moira's DPS good. Because you will just constantly do damage to people. Hey, we fade out the door. Nice. Like, hey, look, it's off cooldown. So again, the team seems a little bit confused about what it wants to do. We also seem a little bit confused about what we want to do. So here's the thing with Moira. Coalescence is a powerful tool, and do not worry, and especially at like this level, do not worry at all about, oh, well, if I just throw damage orbs at them, all I'm doing is charging the enemy support ults. Doesn't matter. You want your ult. It's worth doing. So if you aren't going to orb, like if your team is in this like pokey mindset, Lijiang Market is such a great point to throw a damage orb into because it will just bounce around in there for days. Like, it will just go all over the place. If you just hit the back wall at a slight angle, it will just bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce. You will get tons of value out of it. You will generally get the entire orb of damage. And it's just a good way to build up that ulti. So if you aren't planning on, like, throwing a healing orb somewhere, yeah, just get that damage orb in. Because that Coalescence is such a great initiation tool. This is where we need to learn about Moira's ranges. And you can kind of see the problem. First and foremost, this Hanzo's like this is the decision this Hanzo has made. It should be the Brig that's actually healing this guy as well. Like, your job is more the tanks. What I would do at this point personally is I would probably just like lob a heal orb like this way and then just forget about him. I've done more than enough for him at that point. Honestly, I think you would be fine just ignoring this because he is so far away from you and the rest of the team. And he has access to a health pack that's over here. There's a health pack over here. Well, behind where I am. Hello. There's even, I think, a small health pack in the room over this way. I want to say there's like a health pack somewhere over there. He should be okay on his own. But, yeah. Because the danger here is, like, we put all our healing over here. And like I said, Brig does not heal. You could also conceivably throw a heal orb at the team and then go and do this. I definitely would not stay on him more than like a second though. And I'd probably fade to get back over here. Okay, so because Moira has tracking, doesn't mean we don't have to aim. It's always good to put the crosshair right on the center of the target that we're shooting at. I think we are still hitting it, but yeah, we need to like make this micro adjustment. Like get the crosshair right on the target that you want to shoot at, because otherwise it will do stuff like it will just bend off and start hitting the barrier, for example. Let's use a different color. Let's use yellow. It'll bend off and start hitting the barrier. It might start hitting something else. Just optimize the aim ever so slightly. There's no excuse to be lazy. Nobody's talking, just running randomly. I mean, if you watch my stream, you know that most games, most people don't talk. It happens. So yeah, it's like to me, like the good option here would probably be to throw a heal orb like this way, and then I would probably fade over to go and try and triage this guy. Like if I had to say like what would be my decision tree, it would either be throw the heal orb and then focus over here, or it would be throw heal orb this way, fade across this because these two doors are dangerous. Like this is all open ground and I don't want to walk across it because I can die. Heal this guy and then run back this way, because once I'm over on this side, like as long as there's this door here and then there's like a wall here and there's like this wall here that can give me some safety
Overwatch,
and provide me some nice position. Hey, Fatal Squid.
mate.
Oi, thank you. Very much appreciated. Rather than the slow walking across dangerous contested area, heal, walk back. I'd also not like over prioritize the damage here. You're like always think of your damage, and like this is I think the trap that a lot of Moiras fall into, where it's like, oh, I can just deal damage and it's really good and consistent, and like we got to kill the lamp. The issue is like you got to Winston like no hit points. You got a Sigma, I think. No, he's fine. Bradley's sort of topping him up. Like this Winston needs healing. He can't do anything on this health. Well, he can ult, which is probably what he's going to do. But that's a coalescence set right there for you. It's not your job to do that healing. Hey, Sebin, very much appreciated as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's not your job to do the damage there. Like the flowchart for priority needs to be like healing, and like I know the memes. I know that like, oh, Moira's healing, ha ha ha. But like top priority one is like heal. Actually, I suppose like I would make an argument that like top priority one is like finish, and then it's like heal, and then it's like damage. Right, that's sort of the priority in my head. When I say finish, I mean like when there's like a Lucio who's just like flailing around on the top and he's on like 10 hit points and no one can hit him. Yeah, there's no harm in just going, loop, dead, and then turning around and healing. Same with like Genji's. If the Genji's like flipping around and like deflecting and he's on like 10 hit points, yeah, just finish him off. Like you can put healing aside and just kill the enemy. And if you can kill them in like a second or half a second, do it absolutely 100% of the time. But if it's like, oh well, this has still got like 100 hit points, let me Google just to get sure. Moira DPS. I'm sure someone knows this off by heart. This site uses cookies. Oh my god. There we go. Biotic Grasp. Rate of fire 11 per second. Give me the statistics that I want. Oh, is that the heal? That's the damage one. Damage, 50 damage per second. Yep. It's 30 heal per second, 50 damage per second. It's going to be 20 heal per second soon. Yeah, 50 DPS. So that's going to take you 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, a lot can happen in Overwatch. This Winston, and to me, the really big thing is like this Winston probably wants to do things. But when Winston's on half hit points, he can't do anything. 250 hit points on like a dude this big is just not good. So he needs healing. You can get coalescence off him. Like get coalescence, and yeah, like while the Winston's here and like while the Sigma's here, these guys aren't going to die. Like you're not engaging into this. So killing the field doesn't matter. Like refresh, top up, go in. I'm hoping to see a coalescence like the moment we get it. A little bit slower. Also very unsafe. So yeah, we're really not making use of that, the length. We really want that length. One of the best positions you can be in as Moira is like just stood outside, like when nothing's threatening the outside area, on this point, and you can just stand out there firing a beam in, and it's just like you have complete control. So if you stand in the door here, oh no, there's a sim over there actually. The danger here, and like, yeah, okay, we end up in an okay place. I don't like us going back inwards. Like, as long as we stay in this corner, it's fine. Slight over-prioritization on damage. Yeah, I'm not going to fault that too much, actually. That's fine. I don't like us running towards this Symmetra, though. That's unnecessary. Like, you don't need to go across and out of this point. Because I think at this point, you just turn and help finish off the Orisa, help finish off everyone else, and then the Sim's going to die no matter what. Because the paranoia in my brain is like, while you're doing this, so you start off pretty good, and it's like healing, a bit of damage, try and save the Sigma. You spot, oh, I can kill this. And there's like 3 people fighting over there. I just turn just to make sure that like everything's hunky-dory over here. Oh, but you guys can't see that. Everything's hunky-dory, like behind where I am. And then you can push forward and then deal with that in your own time. Like, you've already won the fight, you don't need to do anything else. A girthy beam, it's not girthy. She's got no girth, it's all length. It's a noodle. Hey, they got a Junkrat again. This is good for us. Big money, says Jeff. Thank you, big money. I love the fact that you get this general chat. I love how useless that general chat is. Slightly iffy on that orb. So, simple trigonometry. Time. Let's go too far. You've really got to think about the first bounce. Like, always think about the first bounce. After the first bounce, it's almost impossible to figure out what's going to happen. But the first bounce is the big one. And the first bounce for this one is just, yeah, in this room. Like, generally when you fire it into a small room, it's going to stay in that small room. So, just trying to angle it so it hits this wall at least gives it a chance to, like, bounce and keep healing the Winston. But I'm honestly, like, the thing that I like is that we made the decision just to throw the orb at him. This is just me being nitpicky. The orb is 100% the right call. The heal should be the right call now, though. Like, here's the thing. You've just seen him take damage, and, like, you can see he's the wrong color, like he should be blue. So when he comes back here, just literally take a split second and just, and then he'll be fine. Because this is still like a good amount of damage. Like, that's what? I can't really quite see it exactly, but it looks about like 80 damage to me. 60 to 80 damage. You can react. There's a lot of startup on this move. I've been playing fighting games a lot. I'm like completely plugged into my fighting game mode, but this... You can still act, 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 you can still act. You're stunned, I think, at this point. Like, I think it's at this point. Like, once the healing stops. Doosh, that's the stun. You can react to this. Part of this is just, like, because I've been going so slowly for this, it's even been hard for me to keep track of these ults, but yeah, it's worth just keeping in mind, especially when you see Reinhardt's do stuff like this, where it's like he's not even swinging at the Winston, he's just kind of walking off. It's like, this guy wants to do something. This is like a very clear tell that, yeah, he wants this badly. Like, otherwise he'd be just like batting around this Winston. He should just be smacking this Winston a bit. Like, his team should just be killing this Winston. Instead he's just walking over here. This is like, whoa, fuck. Like, the moment that you see this, it's just like, yeah, I'm out. And we either just walk back to the left and just like put this wall between us and the Reinhardt and just like use the terrain here. Or yeah, we just, like, you can literally just fade away from him and just like say, yep, fuck it. I don't like that orb. I don't like that orb. Oh god, I don't like that orb at all. So, after an Earth Shatter, he's actually managed to hit only the 2 supports, which is kind of nice. The team has no follow-up to this either, which is kind of good. Didn't get the Reaper, who's doing a lot. Didn't get the Winston, who's doing a lot. The thing to do here is to throw the fucking healing orb, right? The moment that someone hits a big CC ult or any kind of big ultimate, your team is going to have taken damage. And like, let's just take stock. You've taken damage, Winston's taken damage, Hanzo's taken damage, Reaper's probably about to take some damage. Just get that heal orb somewhere. Like, I'd probably turn and throw it like at this wall here, just so it bounces around in this room, because you're going to be fighting. You need that healing output right now. Like, they've made a play, your team's taking damage, you need healing. Let the DPS do the damage. This is a DPS Moira moment where it's like we fade out, and even here you can still throw the healing orb and just like bounce it in there, and it will just bounce around. And while that's bouncing around, you can just do DPS freely. Like, you can do DPS as you want. This orb is so greedy. Because remember, I've talked about this before. The amount of heal output that their team has is about 160. Sorry, not 160, 140 heal per second. Right, this is like a big fucking number. So if your Reaper didn't get like the absolute clutch Reaper ulti, where he actually manages to like kill half their team, there's a good chance that they just out heal you and you lose. I believe you can also animation cancel part of the orb thrown to fade. Personally, I would have probably faded then orbed, just for safety. Like, coming out of the stun in straight away into a fade is generally the good option. You generally want to do that, unless like you're completely at the back. Like, I say, like, let's talk about this. So like, let's say that this is the Reinhardt. Let me get like red. Right, let's get a proper red. There is a proper red in here. This is the Reinhardt, right? Okay, that doesn't pop at all. This is the Reinhardt. And he does his hammer down and catches you. If you are here, yeah, you need to fade afterwards, because like, he can swing at you. Chances are the entire enemy team is going to be like back here and back here and back here. They're all going to be shooting at you straight away, so they want to kill you. But if you are like back here and completely safe, and there's like a person here, and a person here knocked down, you can just stand up, throw out a healing orb through the team, and that should start picking people up. And then you can just either walk backwards and like just back away while healing, or you can make a decision to like fade somewhere and just go. And so like, that's the general logic I try and apply. Is like, if I'm close and threatened, fade is just like, it's such a good button. It's so safe. It's so powerful. It gets you out of pretty much everything. It's a real good fucking button. So you really want to have it available, and like, the moment you feel even slightly threatened is generally a good point to use it. Yeah, this isn't going to work. You aren't going to beat her here if she's even remotely clever. So let me talk about this 1v1, and then I'll talk about the fight. Symmetra 1v1s, as Moira, aren't unwinnable, but they're very fucking difficult. Because once the Symmetra charges up, you're in a lot of trouble. Because she's doing like 120 DPS, you're doing 50 DPS. The math isn't difficult to suss out. So we want to be careful. If she has this fucking barrier, you do not take the fight. Because what she can do is just bounce between it and just interrupt your DPS. Your beam stops, her beam doesn't. Who wins, right? It's even with the health pack that we pick up, which, you know, good on us for like backing up and grabbing this health pack. It's the right move. You do not want to take this fight. Then we go to the next health pack as well, and even throw an orb in panic. But I think we made the complete wrong decision a bit earlier. So let's talk about Symmetra ult. When this ult comes through, the decision that I generally flow with is like, think about it this way. You're on this side of the barrier. 3 of your team on the other side of the barrier. So yeah, it's literally pick a side. 100% pick a side. And generally what I'll do is like, well, if most of my team is on one side of the barrier, I just need to be the one to move. And honestly, yeah, your team should be on this side of the barrier, because their team's on this side. Like, this isn't a good sim wall, because it's just saving sim. It's not doing anything for our team. She should have like thrown it this way maybe, and that would have been really powerful. Instead, she threw it over here, and it's like your team could just ignore that and engage into this and be fine. And I don't think the fade is the incorrect decision here. And like, because what ends up happening is if you don't pick a side, is what happens to this Ana. Where I think this Ana sees that you're in trouble, and like jumps towards you. Like she jumps out of where she needs to be to help the tanks, and it's like she runs in to fight the Sim. Where what we need to do is just cross this side. Let's go yellow, maybe. Eek. So many colors. Go this side of the barrier, and then just start pumping healing into this Ana, and then like from there turn and then fight this way. Like get away from this wall and don't think about it. It's a powerful ult. It's confusing as fuck ult as well. Like because you're relying on everyone kind of having the same reaction, and that's where it's so strong because they won't. It's not over. Actually in a pretty good place. I will chastise you. Don't stop here. Taking the knowledge we've talked about positioning before. Sightline. If someone pokes out around this corner, sightline. Like, this isn't safe. Just 2 steps to the left. 2 steps to the left. That's all you need. And we end up taking them. Like, we kind of realize this is safe. Right? Suddenly we're safe. Suddenly we're okay. Now we can creep up. Not safe. Not safe, not safe, not safe, not safe, not safe. I appreciate what we're trying to do. Let's try and do it quicker. This isn't a terrible idea. I'm actually curious to see if that hits people. Doesn't. If you really want to optimize this, you've got to, like, pretty much every single door frame and everything in Overwatch it's a 3D object, right? So if it was 2D, like, let's say that this is like a door frame, right? And there's like the rest of the wall, like that. It's a really shit drawing, but hey. And you pass through it. The reality is more, it's like this, like this, like this, like this, and there's, you know, there's 3D. And like if you look at it from below, it's like this, like this, like this, and like this. Right? And we can bounce things off like the 3D bit. Right? We can absolutely bounce things off that. So just getting it like, I know this is tricky, but just getting it here will just bounce it straight into the enemy team. That's generally what you're aiming for. And if you miss it, you miss it, whatever. It'll be off cooldown by the time you need it. Good. Not super happy with what we did with it, though. Let's talk about this. As long as you're hitting something, we don't actually have to worry too much about movement. And when you watch like a pro use Coalescence, like what we're doing here is we're like making huge movements going across, and so as a result the opposite end is doing, you know, the opposite. It's flailing around with us. All we need to do is make sure that it's like, what you want is a consistent beam almost, because the thing is the team can actually use this beam for safety. We're pretty safe because it's also healing us, which is grand, and the team can then use it to like push in and do things. We're relatively safe while doing it because they don't have any big one-shot heroes. If there was a Hanzo or a Widow, this would be much more appropriate to do this sort of thing. As it is right now, especially if the Winston like body blocks for you, and which is what you want him to do, yeah, you just stick the beam through and like try and just keep it in there and make sure it's like consistently in, and then just try and like keep it in the same place. As long as the Winston body blocks, you'll be fine. Instead, we're just making like these huge movements. And I would probably try and follow the Winston with that. You actually... yeah. You almost make the right decision, which is okay. We'll talk about this in a second. So yeah, just like keep it in there, and then don't get too distracted by doing DPS with it. If I remember off the top of my head, I'll check the wiki in a second. Hey, Gwen!
Huge movement, huge beam, and also huge 21-month sub. Kept up the gaming love.
Nice.
GG easy.
Could at least got the... no way. Like, so... Mano, you've fallen into a trap where you've seen something that you can only see in this mode, and gone, man, I could have done something with that. It is very fucking hard at this point in the game. Like, keep in mind, during the game, you might be able to see these 2 health bars, maybe, and then maybe you can brute force it. It is so difficult, like, during all of this, like, look at this fucking light show. Right? And try and figure out where the Symmetra is. Like, tell me where the Sim is. You can't. you just can't. So it's like, The key here is to just keep it in the enemy team as consistently as possible. And you could do that very easily by just like bouncing forward like this and just like going here and here and here. And you just mostly want to keep the beam like focused in this direction and just put across like that. And that will cause enough problems for the enemy team. Like as long as you mostly keep the beam like facing here, I think you'll be fine. And then you can just kind of lever it in. Get a lot of damage. But like it's so difficult to like go, oh, the Junkrat's on half hit points, I could have got him. Honestly, I would have just kept that beam on this Winston and let the Winston get him. Like, the Winston can get him. But instead, we end up kind of shooting the wall. Oh no, we shoot someone. This is one of the few exceptions to the healing rule. Where there's a Dragon Strike going across, yes, this is where you fucking drop everything and shoot the Immortality Field. Because what you are hoping is that everyone clusters into it. And, like, this is almost like the trap that Immortality Field gives you. Where if they all scatter and like use the Immortality Field to give them time to run away, they'll be fine. If they run into it though, they're literally just running into the dragon. And so if you kill it, the dragon will kill everyone. Because they're all going to be low. So yeah, this is where you drop everything and you just nail that Immortality Field as aggressively as possible. Luckily it still somehow, despite there being an Immortality Field, gets a ton of kills. Don't know how it did that, but hey. Remember, I want you guys to guess CSR at the end of this. Good times. He wants it. He wants it. He wants it. He wants it. Yes! Good lad. I love it. Look at this guy. Like, he needs like a big fucking neon sign, you know, just saying, I want shatter. Like, that's... Look at this guy. Don't be this guy if you're playing Reinhardt. Like, it's just like he runs in, gets antied, gets rocked, puts his barrier for 2 seconds, and still runs forward, and you're just like, yeah, I know what you want to do. I know what you want to do. 100%, oh god. At this point, I would probably just already faded. I'd probably fade and just go like this way, and just stand here. Because he's going, like... If he doesn't shatter, he's going to die. If he does shatter and you can just keep people alive, the most you can do is like charge the Hanzo. Or the Ana. But you're like forcing him to make a decision. He makes the wrong one. I think he gets 2. Yeah, he gets 2 but dies because he doesn't get the Hanzo. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum-bum. I'd say the only optimization I'd make is I would probably take 2 more steps to the right and just be outside this door after this, but I would have probably come in by now as well. Like, I'd go out, heal a little bit, come back in. And then, yeah, that death is, honestly, that's fair enough. You got to fade onto the point. You're going to die. There you go. That was good by the Junkrat. Like, we still have this brig. We still have this brig. This isn't like an invitation to go and shout at Brigitte players and go like, "What the fuck? You're so trash." It's just... To me, like this is my mentality. Is like I hope they realize how ineffective they're being. I hope they realize that it's just like they are so weak compared to if they just played BAP or if they played Lucio or if they played any other support. Okay, we need to talk about this start. I think the Winston confused us. So first and foremost, again, fade out. You're following a Winston. You're following a dumb Winston. Because look at this guy. Oh dear. What are you doing? Get down from there. Yeah, you can't be there. Yeah, if you're following a Winston, fade out. Follow him as fast as possible. At this point, though, he goes in, and I think we get confused. I think we think he's on the point. He's not on the point. We need to go left. And even if he went onto the point, I'd still say go left, like go through this doorway. Because, again, talking about sightlines, like, this is a completely safe passageway. And it gives you options into here, which is probably where you want to throw your first orb. You want to throw a damage orb into this room. Or you get options into here. But you can play around this health pack. You can play around these corners. It's completely safe. The only time that I would really ever go this way is if we were like doing a super fast Lucio speed boost. And even then, like if if your team is like trying to just take the point super quickly with like a Orisa Sigma or something, then sure. It's very rare though. So the other thing is, like, we need to respect this fucking teleporter. Respect this teleporter a lot more. Because what should come through this teleporter immediately after this is 3 turrets and 150 DPS. The sim should be, like, dumping turrets into this and then teleport through it. It will be down to 120 DPS next patch, which is going to be really nice. It won't blow you up quite as much, but, like, this is scary. Like, the amount of times I've seen one of these deploy and just, like, and just kill someone, yeah. The other thing is we can't be here. Like, you can already see, like, this guy has clear sight on you, Sim has clear sight on you, anything that they run has clear sight on you from here. We don't know what they're running. Like, we don't know that they've got Sim, we don't know that they've got Junkrat. They could have a Hanzo, and the Hanzo could just fire an arrow here and you're dead. GG. So, again, sightlines. Super, super important. Place to be. Hug this wall. Stand on this health bag. Fire heals this way. Like, you aren't interested in doing damage across this space. Like, let's think about this space. You aren't really interested in, like, fighting this way as a Moira, especially early on. You can throw an orb, but honestly, you could probably just bounce the orb, like, this way or, like, up here and just bounce it into them. You don't really have to, like, be here. You're not looking to really right-click them, because if they're coming this way, and they probably are, it's going to be tons and tons and tons of damage, like, coming this way. You need to be ready for that. Catch you with healing. Heal, 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 heal. And then you can start doing damage once the tide turns, once your team starts winning. And especially if you've got a Brig, she ain't going to be healing shit. So, yeah. And so that's why we want to be on this corner, because this is so dangerous. This corner, this corner. This corner is more risky, because they have vision. So, yeah, this corner. Heal, 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 and then as like the Sigma or like the Winston puts a barrier up, then you can start poking your nose around. Then you can start like taking a peek and doing some damage. That early, you can't do it. I just realised the Brigitte is even worse because the Sim can charge off her. It just doesn't get better. Okay, heal orb, healing. Good, I like it. Something as a support I try and do fairly often. It's better as like Bap or Zen. Like Moira's a little bit slow at it. The Brig should really be doing it. Is killing these turrets, and that's good. And then you notice, hey, yeah, Sela needs some help. I'm totally fine with the heal up. I think we did damage a little bit too long for my own tastes, but it works out. Like I think I would have just sprayed some damage in there. Sprayed some healing in there. So like damage, damage, damage. Just like do a quick spray of heal and then damage, damage, damage. Like if you aren't aware of it, the way Moira's healing works is everyone hit by her heal gets like a heal per second afterwards. So like everyone gets a little bit of a heal per second. It's weird that they nerfed her and put 2-2-2 together. They nerfed her in a very specific way. They nerfed her tankiness, but they buffed her healing. Her healing is a lot better than it was. It's a lot more versatile. And honestly, it's a lot better in terms of game health. The old Brig heal, where it was just like an instantaneous, massive amount of healing, was just so stupid. Because the amount of times you see like this Reinhardt, for example, it's like, oh, he's dead, and then Brig would just heal him, and he's just like, bam, almost full again. It's just like, what the hell? It just made people so survivable. So to have like a thing that just gives you like a very rapid but still like heal per second base heal is very nice. And her ability to like deploy them as needed, yeah, that's kind of cool. Like breaking it up into 3 is much nicer. They just need to get the numbers right. like ditching some of our tankiness, I think is 100% the correct idea. It's just that everything at the moment does so much damage that 250 hit points on a barrier is nothing. Like, she's still, like, if you think about it, she's still like a, 500 hit point support with armor? It's, like, it's kind of crazy when you think about it that way, but the heroes that are being played at the moment, they just don't give a shit. Like, Reaper doesn't give a shit, Hanzo doesn't give a shit, Symmetra doesn't give a shit, Junkrat doesn't give a shit, so if it was Tracer, 250 shield is a lot. If it's Genji, 250 shield is quite a lot. I think, like, personally, I think Brig just needs better ways to activate her healing. Like, being dependent on landing whip shots, and then, even then, just, like, getting this kind of weak aura heal out of it, it just isn't good. I've been distracted by talking about Brig. This Carlson's is fine. We actually started in kind of an okay place, like, we're safe behind the bubble. Yep, just put it through them. Good. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. The only mistake I'd say we've made is us with the Coalescence should not be the one clearing this shit out. This is wasting valuable time of an ultimate that is, it's better than that. It should be the Reaper. They also absolutely gutted her self-healing. I'm more than fine with that as well. In the meta where Brig would be good, she shouldn't be able to just self-heal through everything. Like, no other support does that. Without using some kind of massive cooldown. So this is where it feels like our chickens have come home to roost in terms of safety, right? We're in an unsafe position. You know, we're fighting a Junkrat out in the open. It's, you know, it's not too bad. It's out in the open against a Junkrat, but he lands a shot on us and we fade. Correct response. 100% the correct response, right? We're fighting. He can't really burst us down unless he lobs a conch mine at us at the same time. Chances of that killing us are pretty slim, but we can fade it if we see it. Oh, we've taken damage, and we react. And then we do something insane. Which is we kind of just reappear in the exact same... Like, if you just kept going left, you would have probably been fine. If you went right, you'd probably be fine. If you went backwards, you'd probably be fine. But we just kind of come out the same spot that we were in. And this is one of those moments where we kind of just outsmarted ourselves, because it's like, oh, I faded this way, and I juked him, so I came back this way, thinking that, and it's just like, well, we just went across the explosion radius. Like, I've actually managed to freeze it at, like, the perfect frame. I saw him go left and panicked. The thing is, if you come out behind this wall, and he goes left, you just go right. Your job is to get away from him. Your job is to just get away from him. So if he goes left, you come out here, and then you just go right, and then you're fine. You could have also gone back. But here's the trick with Fade as well. You move a lot faster than he does. I'll go find the penis in the middle. Yeah, the penis in the middle. I mean, going backwards would probably be the best decision. Like, back behind, you know how there's, like, the two curved walls around the pillar? But it's sort of that self-doubt that's sort of the problem. And it's like, every time you come out of Fade, to me, like, the ideal situation with Fade is, like, you use it and you go somewhere where the enemy just doesn't know where you are. Yeah, just back out. Back out. Yeah, it's over. It's over. Heal him. Hope he doesn't go back in. Take your time. Nice. I'm almost glad, and I don't know if it's an intentional thing, that you slowed down on healing him. Where it's like, A, it keeps some of your heal meter, which is fine, and B, it sort of forced him to slow down as well, which is good, because that's ideal. The team's pushing as a group. Nice. Nice. Good. So that's more on the Winston. Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, this is more on the Winston than anything, where he just like jumped into their team like a complete moron and then exploded, and it's like, well, yeah, congratulations, you jumped into Diva, Symmetra, Junkrat. What were you expecting to happen? Either one of these supports can output more healing than he does damage. Either one. So yeah, that's on the Winston. Fine with us clearing these turrets out, and then, like, we turn around and it's just like, oh god, he's in there. If you had Primal Raise, this would be fine. If not, no. Just no. I like the fact that we throw a heal orb. Like, that's, to me, the correct play. You're kind of just trying your best. But yeah, if a Moira can't keep him alive during that shit, nothing can. And then, yeah. Yeah, I'm amazed that... Where was the Junkrat for that? Oh, he did it behind the wall. There he is. It's a good attempt. We kind of did the right thing. Like, I'm okay with us just... The only thing I don't like is that we stay in this open space. I'm fine with us shooting this field, but, like, we walk out and, like, again, think about what the enemy team's seeing. Like, this is a great big doorway. Right, so this is the doorway, and we're like stood here. And do I have purple on this? I've kind of got a dark blue. And we're like doing the suck this way, and it's like, yes, we'll kill the disc, we'll kill the frisbee, And instead of like going this way towards safety, let's not use that color anymore. Instead of going this way towards safety, we actually walk out even further. So it's just a doorway with us just sitting in the middle, going, hi! Moira's not that friendly. She's not. She's a bit of an introvert, I think. She's a bit of a shut-in. She likes her science. She's not really a moral person. She's not big on small talk, I feel. She can probably do a good presentation, but yeah, she's... You know, because you kind of have to if you're her kind of scientist, where you're very famous and you do very good groundbreaking research. If you're like the leader of a technical institute like she is, you kind of got to be good at public speaking. But yeah, just be very cautious of like these big open spaces. It's a better fade. Good. Fading away from Junkrats is often a very good thing to do. I would like a Coalescence here. If you got it and you're fighting, use it. And especially once Baptiste uses that ult. There's a pro to him using this ult. It's getting me more loyal and more about Blizzard. Oh yeah, no, do you know Oasis? Like the great big city in, I think it's in Iran or no, I want to say it's in Iraq. But yeah, the city of Oasis is built around. It's like a big technocracy, right? And Moira is actually one of the heads of that area. Like, she helps run that city. It's why she has like that outfit for it. She's a big fucking deal. But lore. Apparently there's a book coming out that looks. Who knows? I might read it. It might be shit. We'll find out. Anyway. Yeah, there's a nice benefit to this thing. Like, we got to respect this. And part of respecting this is like, shit, we need healing. Because their entire team is now doing 100% extra damage, right? 100% plus. It's a scary thing. The nice thing about it, though, is that everyone tends to bunch up on the opposite side of it. So if you just put a big fucking coalescence through it, you'll do a lot of damage. You just got to be very careful. But yeah, people are going to be taking a lot of damage here. People are finding this big space. There's no reason not to coalescence. Fade away. Orb. Coalescence. Good. Don't die to the turret. It's above you. You've been confused. You've been bamboozled. You're gonna die. Fuck. Kinda done it. We done it. We done it. We did it. We did it, Reddit. Yeah, this is way too late on the coalescence. There might be an instinct of like, man, I don't want to overspend ults. And you'd be right if you're playing like Zenyatta. Although even at this point, I think if I'm playing Zen against their team lineup, I would have probably fucking trounced here. Because there's nothing as Zen that I need to like think about. There's no like grav or anything like that. And like this is like the perfect instance for you because like the fight. Think about the fight happening here. It's like all in this space. It's all in this area over here. So if you just coalesce and move here, you are pretty safe because there's a Primal Raging Winston blocking all the damage, blocking all the line of sight, blocking everything. The Sigma's here as well. Let's try and find a color that works. White? Kind of. So yeah, you got like the Sigma here. You've got the Winston Primal Raging like over here. You got the Reaper going in this side. And if you just coalescence and just go this way and just shove that through the entire fight, suddenly everyone here is taking damage. Like, coalescence down this corridor is one of the best things in the world. It's such a good feeling because it's such a narrow corridor that, and the only thing they can do is like hide behind the little pillar in the middle. And once they're doing that, well, that's good for the Reaper. You got the Winston knocking people around. It's good for the Brig because they're going to be stuck behind that, so she can get in there. Like, it's only good here, I feel. And so I'm just like waiting for it. Okay, maybe now. And I've talked about this in the past, but there are ultis. It's above us. It's above you. It's above you. It's above you. It's above you. There are ultis that I have in my head that are like, if I'm thinking about it, you know, if I'm like weighing up my options, do I use this ulti? Do I not use this ulti? Let's find a clearer screen. There we go. Do I use this ulti? Do I not use this ulti? Like, I've got to make a decision. Do I spend it in this fight or do I not? If I'm even considering it, I'll generally have like a default response. And with Coalescence, so like let's go with Moira, the answer is oftentimes yes. Like I will use this ultimate. If I'm considering it, I'm like, is this ulti a good option? Yeah, it probably is a good option. If it's Zen, the answer is probably no. Like, if I'm thinking, maybe I do it, maybe I don't, unless I have, like, a really clear signal that it's super needed, I will still probably not use it. Like, there might be instances where there's just a fight happening and I might, but, yeah, I'm probably going to want to use it. Not want to use it, rather, and hold on to it for something more important and more powerful. Mercy, yes, 100%. If I think that the fight might need it, yeah, straight away, activate it. Ana is complicated. And part of this is like the facility of these ultimates, like what they actually do in a fight and how strong they are in a fight, but also like how fast they build. Moira ult builds super quickly. Mercy ult builds fairly quickly, but isn't like, you don't need to hold on to it for anything, so you might as well just use it. Baptiste ult, yes. I will use Baptiste ult a lot. Because, and like you will see me do this in ranked where I will just fucking throw it out at the start of a fight. Because it buffs my healing. If I put it down somewhere and people run through it, then it's just buffing my healing a huge amount, which is fine, and buffing my DPS to be something that's actually threatening, which I'm okay with. And then if not, then it kills everything. And if I don't get value off it, I'm often like 50% towards the next one at the end of the fight anyway. So fuck it, just use it. So it's just like weighing your options, and like when you're playing a hero like this, especially when you're playing a support hero, Lucio's the other no, by the way. Luce. No. When you're playing a hero, you want to be thinking about stuff like this. Like, do I throw my, like, when do I use my ultimate? How do I get a value out of it? How do I, in a panic situation, do I use it? Do I not use it? That kind of stuff. Some ultis need to be very planned, need to be very structured, can't just be used. But like, you know, like Tracer ultimate, you can just use that off cooldown, right? Like, you should be using it very aggressively. While Dragon Blade, no, you want to hold on to that. Visor, you probably want to hold on to that. Death Blossom, I'd say fucking just use it. Like, if you think you can get 1, maybe 2 kills off it, use it. As long as you're being, like, intelligent about using it. Don't, like, think, oh man, I should hold on to this to deal damage to 5 people, because as you get higher and higher in the ranks, that just happens less and less and less and less and less. Zarya ult, hold on to it. Diva ult, use it, because you need to get back into your mech more often than not. And like being in your mech is like the real power of that ulti, because you get just a free full heal, and it like slows the fight down as well. He wants it. Look at this guy. Like, the fact that he jumps as well, I'm surprised he hasn't done a fucking 360. Like, yeah, he wants it. He wants it badly. We kind of get lucky in that he goes for the Reaper. And he'll get the Reaper, but yeah, he should die for this. Reaper even gets out of it. Because he didn't charge. Oh no. This, by the way, is why healing is often better than DPS. If he's not going to charge and you just heal him, he gets up and he just kills him. Like, everyone else should be killing this guy. Remember, you deal 50 DPS. We've learned that today. We've checked it. 50 DPS. So it's going to take you 10 seconds to kill the Reinhardt. This Rein needs my personal coach. This Rein, yeah, he needs to just stop doing that. But this Reinhardt, like, clearly this Reinhardt in his head, he's got, you know, Rein. He's clearly got yes. Like, yes! It's not even that yes. It's like, yes! You know, wait. He's got this level of yes, right? It's just 100% like... Yes! Like, that's what he wants. He's just fucking going for it, boys. Yeah, you don't get to do that. Rhino's almost so longer than 10 seconds. Technically, yes, longer than 10 seconds. Whoop. Hey, your team has a Doomfist now. Feels nice. This is a tough fight. You've done the right thing in throwing the orb. Our position is actually okay. Like, I like this position here as long as we don't go too far off. Like, this is nice. Like, we want to be in this kind of area. And, like, you can even go in over here. As long as they're fighting out of this corridor, this space is much, much safer. The issue is, like, when we start going back here, there can be threats coming from, like, behind where I am right now, right? They can come up here. So you want to be a little bit careful. Like, someone is coming. Oh, look. Are we about to have a lesson? We're a bit too horny for the DPS there. I'll tell you what, I think the number one lesson, I think, in like breaking the DPS Moira mindset is to go through replays and watch fights and actually ask yourself, is the DPS I contributed in this fight actually what pushes us over the edge? Sometimes it can be. Best examples I have is like when a Genji like dives into the back line and you just stop healing and kill the Genji because no one else can fucking do it. Like those are great instances of like, yes, that's when the DPS really does matter. Or like when you finish off like a Lucio who's being like a Reddit Lucio and bouncing over walls and stuff and he's still healing and like booping people around and being obnoxious and you kill him, sure. In this fight, I think our DPS is completely irrelevant to everything that's happening. And we give up so much value in terms of our healing. Like, we bounce through, and we do a tickle to the Reinhardt. And yes, he adjusts his barrier to, like, deal with us, which is, like, more his problem. But the real fight that's actually happening, yeah, it's, like, the Reaper's DPS. It's the Winston's DPS. It's everything else happening. It's the Doomfist DPS. That's what's winning the fight for us. And this is where, like... This is where you get into the support mindset. I was out of juice here. Were you? Yes, you were, actually. I mean, to me, like, it's the fade that, like, gets me. We were, like, fade all the way through. I don't know why we did that. Because, like I say, I know there's a trap that I almost fall into when coaching, which is like, I mentioned this earlier and you haven't corrected it yet. But it's like, it's the same problem we had earlier, right? Everyone is on this side of the barrier. So we want to stay on this side of the barrier. Like, we cannot cross this line. Everyone's fighting over here. We stay on this side. So, like, the fade just feels very weird to me. Right? It feels like we faded and it's like, haha, DPS mode. Ha ha ha, Reinhardt. You thought I was here, now I'm here, killing you. Ha ha ha. And it's like, You just need, like, especially with stuff like D.Va on the field, you just need a second to suck on the D.Va and then just, like, a little bit healing over here. And as long as you keep the Reaper, the Doomfist, and the Winston alive, you will win this fight. Are links allowed? Yeah, if you're not a sub, you need a permit. So I need to do it. Boom. By far the biggest thing is positioning. 100% the biggest thing is positioning. So... it's avoiding instances where we're moving out in the open. Corners are our friend. And I will talk about this time and time and time again. until every support on the planet has learned it. The perfect situation in Overwatch. If this is a wall, and this is a wall, right? So we've got a wall. This is our team. And let's use white, because actually black should show up here. And this is their team. The perfect place for us to be is over here. Because their team can't see us. Their team can't do anything about us. And as Moira, if you can just pump all your healing into your team, and you're just stood over here, you'll just inevitably win. Because they can't stop you healing. And like Bapti, especially this is why like Bat Moira is so strong, because if you're both over here, like being all happy campers, and your team's just fighting them, and they can't get to the backline in any way, your team should just inevitably win. And it's so nice. Like, it's a very, very important idea to get into your head. And the issue is, it's not so much like, oh, well, they can't touch you. It's that, like, if you're stood over here, and you got a weird eye, and, like, the Hanzo just fires a fucking arrow and kills you, your team just fucking loses straight away. Right? It's... As a support, when you die, it is a big deal. It is a really big deal. Because it puts, like, a time limit on the fight for you. Where if both teams are equal, and like you can make the argument that, oh, well, it's the same's true for DPS, surely, and it kind of is in this meta, where like barriers are so prevalent, and like being able to just do like huge amounts of damage consistently is so prevalent. But in stuff like, you know, the Widow meta, and if you're in a fight, let's say you're in a 4-on-4, and it's like Orisa, Sig, Reaper, and Moira, and it's literally both sides have these. If the Orisa dies, these guys can still win. If the Sig dies, these guys can still win. If the Reaper dies, these guys can actually still win, because you can still kill the Reaper. You can still do. If the Moira dies, the enemy team just turtles. They just hide behind the Orisa Sig barrier, and they just turtle up, take the fight slowly, and they will win because they have healing. Like, healing is so powerful right now. It's so powerful that losing a healer is like a really big deal. So playing super safe is going to be really important. And it's just like avoiding instances where, man, I'm just stood out in the open. Luckily for you, it's a very easy problem to fix. Replays are fantastic for making you realize, man, I'm just kind of stood out in the middle of nowhere, aren't I? I'm just literally stood out there like going, oh, shoot me, please. It's like such a good thing. And like, if you still have the replay of this match, I will 100% recommend like watching it. Just from like a third-person viewpoint almost, just like look at it from the overhead, and just look at how often you're just sort of walking around in the middle of nowhere. Like walking, like bad. And in fact, I'm going to do even a bonus thing, playback speed, 2 times. We're just going to play it through at 2 times speed. I'm just going to go bad, good, good, until it changes. Let's not do that. Good. Still okay. Bad. Good. Okay. Good. But we got punished because we had to use Fade to get out of a bad place. And, you know, I explained this laboriously as we went through, so don't worry too much about it. Kind of iffy, like a bit rough. Safe. Really rough initiate. Bad. Careful. Bad. Good. Okay. Better positioning. Okay. We were a little bit disrespectful of the Roadhog during this. Hello, Sty. You've kind of missed the coaching, so too bad. Like, this is fine. Like, this is an example of, like, what we should be doing, but to me, it's like, we don't understand why this is one situation is good and why the other situation is bad. Where, like, when this Winston bubble is up, we can be here. And it's really that idea of like, well, anything can come around this corner and one-shot us. And I know that we don't have like context of the situation here, but it's just like a really good example of like, you can be here as long as this dome exists. As long as there is a tank in front of you that can like block stuff here, you can be here. Once this bubble goes away though, this position suddenly becomes a nightmare. And it's going through your reviews, going through all your footage and just going, man, okay, yeah, I'm just kind of stood out in the middle of nowhere. I'm stood in the middle of a doorway. It's very rare as a support where if you have a doorway, you ever want to be here. You pretty much never want to be here. I can't think of very many good instances unless you're like a Moira looking for a specific angle, or you have like an immortality feel and you really need to be there. very rarely do you need to be there. You want to be here, you want to be here, because you want to have safety available to you within a second. And that's the big thing. And like, once you start focusing on that, I think you will see so much results. Otherwise, yeah, tell me what SR this person is at, chat. What SR are they? While I look it up. Because I'm not going to tell you mine, because I already know. But what SR are they at, chat? I want to know. 2.7. 2.6, Sty wasn't even here during this, but hey, there you go. I've just got here, yeah, I mean, it's safe to play the average. 2.4. Well, guess 2.3 since I just came in. Anyone who actually watched the fucking coaching want to make a guess? 1999, good year. 1800. Very variable today. I mean, a lot of guesses are like, you know, kind of from people who just arrived towards yes. Except for the 2.7. Thank you so much for the coaching. I really enjoy the help. You're more than welcome. Feel free to watch the full review. The actual answer is 1780. 1780. And I'd say that's about right. Like, judging from just the level of play overall. 1.8, close? Yeah, about 1.8. The biggest thing, and like, I want to reiterate this for the people who came late. The biggest thing and the biggest weakness of new players or like lower ranked players is that they think that people will miss them. They think that, oh, well, I can stand here because the enemy's not going to hit me. Whereas better players will always assume that they will die. And you will lose so many stupid fights because of that assumption that, oh, I can kind of be here. It's kind of safe. I think I'm safe. And you just kind of stood in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly you'll die, and then the enemy team will have this massive advantage, because losing someone is a big deal in Overwatch. Like, being a person down is a really big deal. So we really want to be careful with our positioning. And once you start shoring that up and tightening that up, you will find yourself, like, just surviving longer than the enemy team. And if you just view this as like a 1 versus 1 between you and the enemy Moira, and you're just like, well, if I survive longer than the enemy Moira does, then suddenly their team loses 80 heal per second on multiple people, oftentimes. So we just win, because we just have way more healing than they do. And that's the big thing, of just like surviving, being clever about our positioning, and you will die less to silly shit like Roadhog's hooking you out of nowhere. You'll die, and we didn't die much in this video because the enemy team weren't playing like a really big bursty comp, but you will die less to Earth Shatters, you'll die less to Hanzo arrows, all this kind of stuff that will just blow you up if you are in bad positioning, but if you're in good positioning, you can kind of work around it. Otherwise, yeah. Going against a GM or Master Player or Widow will really teach you that paranoia. Yes. Going against a good Widowmaker will make you, like, that's why people don't like playing against Widow, like a good Widow, because any allowance in, like, bad positioning just vanishes. The reason why I don't like playing against a good Doomfist is good positioning doesn't even fucking matter anymore, because he can get you anywhere. You coach any SR? Yes. I will generally say the people who will get the most value out of my coaching are probably around gold, plat. Well, gold, like plat or lower. If you're diamond or higher, I could probably coach you in diamond and masters. I could probably comment a lot on what you're playing and maybe give you some options, but like, I'm masters myself, so your mileage may vary. I've seen GM, when we get a GM footage, like if someone sends in GM footage, what I'll generally do is highlight what's good about the footage, and like what they're doing that makes them GM. Right? That's the big thing. If you want to send in footage, please do, because I always need more, which is over here. So imreviews@gmail.com. Include your name. You can include the SR, or you can hide the SR, because people like the guessy SR stuff, so hey. And just send it to imreviews@gmail.com. The easiest way to do it is just go into a review, go to first person, and just hit record. There is a tutorial to it on my channel. It's like in a Roadhog coaching, though. Might be a bit tough to find, but honestly, it's very easy to do. Upload it to YouTube, send it in, and go. Do you need a specific hero? Not specifically. Anything will do at this point. Otherwise, I'm kind of sick this week, so I'm going to be like, I'm probably going to take it easy and have some rest. But yeah, that was like, it was a really useful thing, I think. Like, we covered a lot today. We covered a hell of a lot in terms of positioning, and it's something that everyone needs to work on. Like, my positioning isn't perfect, and even like pros have to work on positioning at times. Like, they have to think carefully about where they stand, and it's a very important thing to do. So we want to be doing that as we play. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the subs and support and being an active chat. I do love an active chat when you're even talking amongst yourselves or talking to me. It's all good. Thank you, Gwen. Sebin, thank you so much for the footage as well. Very brave thing to do. Fatal Squid. And yeah, that's it for today. And we're back tomorrow at 7. We might not be playing Overwatch because playing Overwatch is torturous. I kind of want to try Noita. Right? It's a really weird game. It's called Noita. It looks like a really fun sort of indie game though. Really, really fun. So I kind of want to try that out maybe. Or I might try and like get Sty and play Apex. Who knows? Because there's a new season Finnish game. I think so. Because Noita means like witch in Finnish. It's all about like wands and stuff, and it's like a roguelike sort of thing. It's really fun. I want the new patch. I want the new patch because this patch is god awful to play on. It's just let me put it this way, guys. We played for about 2 hours 20 minutes yesterday. I've had streams where it feels like the stream just goes by like boosh, like it's done. It's so quick. It's like lightning. Yesterday, it felt like I was streaming for like 5 hours. Like that's because the games were just so slow and like the same thing over and over and over. I think we all want the next patch, not the one on the PTR, the one after that, kind of, yeah. Whether the meta somehow becomes better after the patch, yeah, I think it will. I kind of want to grind Tracer out. Phrasing. I kind of want to practice Tracer a lot, like right now, like go into free-for-alls and just play Tracer a shitload, because I think she'll be really good after the patch. I think that buff is really good. I think people are really underestimating how strong that buff is, because it's not just... It doesn't seem like a big deal of like going from 10 meters to 13 meters, which like if I do this like by proportion, it would be like about here. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it just increases your engagement range in so many ways. It means that as Tracer, like, think about how small Tracer is. It's already hard to hit her at like 10 meter distance. Hitting her at 13 meter distance is going to be even harder. And so against like big targets, from 13 meters, she'll be doing full damage. And it's not even that. It's like, if you're normally engaging at 15 meters, you're still 3 meters better than you used to be, right? It's not just like the 10 to 13. It's like 15 meters becomes 12 meters. 18 meters becomes 15 meters in terms of your DPS output. So it's like a really big thing. I want Uber Eats and some Popeyes, but I'm in the wrong fucking country and Uber Eats doesn't work here. Spread is tighter? No, it's just the range. But it's like the big thing is when people are playing like Orisa Sigma, your DPS will be a lot more effective because the spread doesn't work. Like the spread doesn't matter. Sigma can't he just block the damage? Yeah, but if he's using Kinetic Grasp, you just blink away for 2 seconds and then go back in and hold left click again. Like, it's not like Defense Matrix where he can just bring it up and down. If he uses Kinetic Grasp on you, you just leave for 2 seconds and come back and just DPS him again. But even think about like the supports being played, like Baptiste is pretty vulnerable to Tracer because he's big, and so he'll take a lot of damage very quickly. You can Immortality Field it, but if the Tracer gets the Immortality Field out, that's good. Like that's huge value. It's on a long cooldown as well, so you can get back in and do some really good stuff. I think Tracer will be really good next patch. Whether she'll be good enough, and the issue isn't so much just whether Tracer will be good, it's whether everything else will be good enough to support her, or whether or not the meta comp will just be too strong still. Like, if you still play like Sigma, Orisa, Mei, Reaper, Baptiste, Moira, you'll still probably struggle as Tracer, because there's just too much to get through, and so on, and that's just ugh. Anyway, I said I'm done. Fuck off. Bye. God. See ya. Toodles. I'm out.